When the PlayStation Portal was announced, it wasn't really widely accepted, and that is because it's designed to do one thing: remote play, which means that there is no native experience on the device. Rather, everything is done through the PlayStation 5. You can't download a game from the PlayStation Store, there are no media apps like Netflix, there's nothing like that. Everything has to be done through the PlayStation 5, which really makes it limited because you can't do nothing really if you don't have a PlayStation 5. But I'm gonna argue that that's not a bad thing. You see, I actually use remote play quite a bit. I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake through remote play, Yakuza Kiwami, and I played a bunch of other games through remote play. It's actually helped out a lot. I do a lot of my gaming mobile, which is why I use my Steam Deck and my Nintendo Switch so much. And remote play was something that I've always liked, but when it came to remote play, the experience wasn't always perfect. I always had to limit my games to 720p and 30 FPS. And that was kind of a bummer because I'm losing quite a lot of fidelity when it came to remote playing these games, even though remote play was designed to be able to do 1080p 60 if you have a good network. But before we get into all of that, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are trying to hit 600 subscribers. We're very close to that number, so every subscriber does count, as well as share the channel. It does help out a lot. Before we get into talking to the PlayStation Portal, I would like to thank today's sponsor, iVolar. They have provided us with a screen protector, so let's go ahead and check out how that looks on the PlayStation Portal. So you got your PlayStation Portal, and the main thing you're probably going to want to do is keep it protected. One of the best ways to keep it protected is with a glass screen protector, and that's where the iVolar glass screen protector comes in. iVolar is known for making some premium accessories, and here they have the glass screen protector for the PlayStation Portal. Comes with everything you'll need. You'll have two glass screen protectors, some cleaning supplies, a squeegee, and then of course the installation instructions right here. There's also a pair of dust dissolvers, which will basically allow you to absorb the dust, or they're just stickies that allow you to pick up the dust before you apply the screen protectors. As far as applying it, it's pretty easy. First thing you're gonna want to do is go ahead and clean up your display. Make sure you have no dust or any type of fingerprints on it. From there, you're gonna go ahead and grab one of the screen protectors, pull it out. There, it does tell you it is, which is the back, which is the front. Of course, would be the opposite end. And you want to go ahead and line it up. So before you put it on, make sure you can line it up perfectly. And then we line it up, set it down. And it actually fits pretty perfect because of how the display is and the way the thumbsticks are. It just sits there perfectly, which is really nice. A lot of times with screen protectors, like on a phone or something, you have to line it up perfectly. But in this case, it just fits perfect. As you can see on the display, pretty perfect actually. On the edges, you don't get any really lifts or anything like that. Same thing at the bottom. And now you can see that it's perfectly put on. No bubbles or anything. And it still looks perfect on the PlayStation Portal. So definitely go ahead and pick up an iVolar glass screen protector. You can find those on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description below. If you remember my previous videos, the one thing that I said was I would keep the PlayStation Portal if and only if it gave me a better experience than what I already had with remote play. And I will say this, it does. Like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately when it came to remote play, I was only able to do 720p and 30 FPS when it came to my Mac, my phone, my PC, my iPad, my Pixel. There's so many different devices I try remote play on, and I was only able to do 720p 30 FPS. Even with Chiaki, which I feel like Chiaki gives you a really good experience compared to remote play. And I don't know why. My network is actually really good, and I do want to dive in a little bit when it comes to network, because a lot of reviews are kind of, saying the PlayStation Portal is not great, the experience is bad, and so forth. But when you really actually do a deep dive and see what they're working with, it's not really that good. You see, typically the modem and router that the ISPs give you, your internet service provider, are not really that great. Not only that, if you're using a Wi-Fi extender, don't recommend doing that. Wi-Fi extenders are not that great. If you want something to get a broader range, you want to do something like a mesh system, and specifically a mesh system that has at least a tri-band connection, because that third band is actually used to connect the mesh routers together to give you a great connection. When it comes to remote play, you need a really stable connection. And honestly, I feel that a lot of creators who are kind of saying that the PlayStation Portal is not that great, they don't have a good connection. So going into that, I do want to let you know that my connection is actually pretty good. I have an Eero Pro 6 and I have 4 nodes around my whole house. So I made sure to go ahead and have good connection wherever I go. Not only that, I have quite a lot of things connected to my internet, so the mesh system actually helps out a lot. Mesh systems are designed to kind of go ahead and offload routers to, have basically fewer devices on just a single node, right? You have 4 nodes in my case, and that kind of offloads those to other nodes, which gives you a really good connection. It also gives you a really good connection throughout the whole house because it tries to even out your connection. So even though you might lose a little bit connection compared to the main node, you still get a really, really good connection. And that's where this all falls in. If you're thinking of doing remote play and you're using your ISP's modem and router, you're probably not gonna get a good connection. Now let's go ahead and start talking about the PlayStation Portal. The PlayStation Portal is designed for remote play, and honestly, the experience you get with that, I think, is really, really good. When I first booted it up, it was pretty awesome because the little splash screen they have there to set up looks really neat. Not only that, there's music. There's actually music in the background, which I really do like because I feel like that's something that really these consoles don't have anymore. You remember when the Wii, you first booted it up and you had those sound effects, you go to different channels and you had music in the background, or even the 3DS, you had different like ambient noise in that, or the Wii U, even the PlayStation Vita. Well, a lot of consoles don't do that anymore, so it was a pleasant surprise to see that the PlayStation Portal actually has music in the background, which is cool. The other thing that's really cool about it in terms of aesthetics is when you go ahead to boot up a game, it really kind of sticks to what its name is, the PlayStation Portal, right? There's a portal on the screen, and once it connects to your PS5 and you press X, that portal kind of spins in circles and then enlarges, and then it throws you right into the menu of your PS5 or whatever game you might have been in at the time. I think that's really cool in terms of aesthetics, so big props to the software developers for the PlayStation Portal because that is kind of cool and neat. Now going to the actual performance, the performance is really good. With the PlayStation Portal, I can do 1080p 60 FPS on pretty much every game, which is really good. If you are losing connection, what it does do is kind of scale the resolution down so you can continue playing at a steady rate versus freezing or getting artifacting and all these other things that kind of like Chiaki does and Remote Play does. That was pretty awesome because I was able to have a stable experience pretty much in every game I've played. I tried out games like Yakuza Like a Dragon, Nier Replicant, Star Ocean The Divine Force, and a bunch of other stuff just to make sure I was getting a good experience. And I will say this, the experience is really good. Being able to play at 1080p 60 was fun. But not only that, big props to that display. The LCD display is probably one of the most beautiful LCD displays I've ever seen. It is really, really gorgeous. The colors pop, there's really good contrast. Honestly, it is a really, really good LCD, especially coming from somebody who has the OG Steam Deck. This LCD is leaps and bounds way ahead of the original Steam Deck display. If you want to compare it to something, I would say it's probably better than maybe, I would say like an iPad Pro display or stuff like that. It's very, very vibrant. It's very rich in design, and I really do like that. It makes all the colors pop. Playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, seeing Ichiban's clothes, that like reddish or like maroon color that he has for his clothes really does pop, and I do like that. If you're playing games that have a lot of color, something like Horizon Forbidden West, where you have like the grass, the greenery, and like flowers and stuff like that in the background, everything does pop really well. So big props to the LCD, I guess, manufacturers or whatever LCD panel Sony decided to put on there, because man, I'm telling you, pretty solid. When it comes to controller design, pretty much what you're getting is a DualSense controller, but with some modifications. It's not a really one-to-one exact copy of the DualSense because the thumbsticks are a little bit smaller and the overall design seems to be a tad bit smaller, which is kind of understandable because I think it was designed to be a little bit more comfortable in your hand. And in my opinion, I think it's pretty comfortable. Not the most comfortable device. I feel that the Steam Deck is a little bit more comfortable in my opinion, but it's still very comfortable nonetheless. It's a lot more comfortable than holding a backbone controller with your phone. The backbone controller, when it comes to grips, isn't the best. It's pretty good, but not the best in my opinion. It's a lot better than the Nintendo Switch experience. It is very comfortable to hold, but after about a couple hours, yeah, it starts hurting my hands. Like, I was playing it in bed and I was playing it for quite some time before I actually put it down. And yeah, my hands started hurting towards the end, which kind of forced me to put it down and just, take a break. But other than that, the experience is very good. You get what you will get with the DualSense in terms of the experience. So you have the vibration motors, the pretty much enhanced versions of those. You have the dynamic triggers, all that good stuff. Works perfectly flawless. It feels great when using it, pretty awesome. There is the light bar there on the side of the DualSense, or rather the PlayStation Portal, and not the best. What I did is I went into the menu and just shut it off, because depending on the game you're playing, those lights will just flash in your eyes or shine in your eyes, and it's kind of annoying. So I just shut it off completely so that I don't have to have those lights in my face. But if you do want to keep it on, of course it's on by default, but it is nice to know that Sony did think about this and did give you the option to shut off those lights. The volume on the device, or rather the sound on the device, is not the best. I mean, I think it's pretty decent, but it might have something to do where these speakers are positioned. They're positioned at the top for some reason, and I don't know, I'm just not a fan, because it feels like when you're actually listening to it, the sound is actually firing backwards, so you're actually losing some quality. So it's definitely not the best speakers I've ever heard, especially when you compare it to like a Steam Deck or even a Nintendo Switch. It's nowhere near as good as those devices. I want to say it's because those speakers are pretty much firing backwards, but I don't know. I don't really have exact evidence about that. All I know is that they are positioned at the top. It just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere towards you. It's going the reverse direction. So that is kind of like a missed opportunity in my opinion, but it's still not that bad. It's pretty good. You can hear things. Even if the quality is not the best, you can still hear things pretty good. I honestly was using it with my headphones most of the time. I have IEM, so I just plugged them in and I was good to go. Speaking of headphones, there is no Bluetooth on the PlayStation Portal, which kind of sucks, meaning that there is no way to connect any type of Bluetooth earbuds to the PlayStation Portal. Again, I use IEMs. It doesn't affect me, so I'm good with that. I know a lot of people are, up in ears over that because they can't use their Bluetooth headphones, which honestly, to me, it makes sense. We did the same thing when the Nintendo Switch had Bluetooth and they did not allow you to connect your Bluetooth headphones to it. So I don't expect anything different to be with the PlayStation Portal, especially seeing that it does seem that they did not put any type of Bluetooth module in the PlayStation Portal, which means that there is no way to, do an update and enable Bluetooth. But there is something else that you can do, and that is use the PlayStation Link devices, like the PlayStation Pulse Explorer, or there's the new Pulse headset that's coming out. Those would allow you to wirelessly connect to the PlayStation Portal. It uses kind of their proprietary connection, so it allows you to pair wirelessly. So I guess if you want to go ahead and spend another $200 on some Pulse Explorers, you definitely have the option to do that. Me personally, I'm probably not going to do it. I've debated about doing it, see if I might do a review on it, but I'm not really an audiophile type of person, or rather, like, I'm not the best when it comes to audio, so maybe I'll leave that for somebody else to do. When it came to battery life, I was getting about 6-ish hours somewhere, give or take, and I think that's good enough, especially depending on if you're playing games that have a lot of haptic feedback. That might make a difference in battery life, but for the games that I played, I was able to get about 6 hours before I needed a charge. What I do like is that even though there is a cable that comes in a box, it's USB-C to USB-A, I do like that you can kind of use any USB-C cable to charge a PlayStation Portal. If you know, typically when it came to like the DualShock 4 and even the DualSense, it wouldn't charge on anything. You couldn't just plug it into a normal USB-C wall outlet and charge the device. Rather, it had to be a specific wattage or specific cable and a specific wall brick. Here with the with the PlayStation Portal, you are able to go ahead and use any device. I was able to use my MacBook charger to go ahead and charge the PlayStation Portal, worked perfectly fine. I used the Steam Deck charger, worked perfectly fine. So I was glad to see that at least Sony opened it up so that you can use anything to charge it. Basically, the cable that came in the box is just sitting there, but it's nice to have an extra USB-C cable if I need it. But yeah, the experience that I did have with the PlayStation Portal is pretty spot on good. Honestly, it's a device that I do recommend if you do a lot of remote play. There's a lot of hate on it, and again, a lot of people that I feel, I won't say they're misinformed, but rather they're working with not the best connection. Can't really put it into words, but basically a lot of these people that are complaining about it, their issue is really their internet setup. It is very important, especially if you want to do something like this, to have a good internet setup, because when you're remote playing off your own internet in your own network, you really need a good network to begin with. It's not all about your Wi-Fi provider or your internet provider speed that they give you. It's also about the actual devices you have that actually give you that internet. If you're using, again, the ISPs, modem, and router, guarantee you're not going to have the best connection. But if you go out there and spend money like on an Eero Pro 6 like I have on a mesh system, you will probably get a lot better experience overall. I mean, honestly, like I said, it works great. There's a lot of other factors to think about when it comes to remote play and just Wi-Fi connections in general. There's a lot of materials that might be in the wall, or there can be jewelry, for example, that do mess with Wi-Fi connections. You might have to move those out of the way to get a good, connection overall. I don't expect you to move your wall out of the way, but you might have to play around to see how you can get a really good connection overall. So I don't think that the people who are kind of giving it the negative review saying it's a really bad connection, I don't really feel that that's the experience, because the experience I've had was perfect, spot on, a way better experience that I had with remote play on my phone, on my iPad, Mac, PC, using Chiaki on the Steam Deck, all these devices. It was a very, very solid experience, and yeah, I do recommend it if you do a lot of remote play. When I first got it, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it. It was very hard for me to decide if I want to keep it or not. And the main reason was because it's $200 for just a remote play device, which is very limited. I'm probably only going to use it at home and maybe not much anywhere else, because of course you got to be on a good network for that. But after actually using it and experiencing it, I think I'm going to keep it. Because again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I really play most of my games portable, so a device designed for remote play will help me use my PS5 a lot more. I mean, I've been going through Star Ocean: The Divine Force, a game that I haven't played, even though I want to play it bad. I've been playing that using the PlayStation Portal, and the experience has been great. I love it, and yeah, it might actually push me to finish this game and finish other games. We have games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I'm definitely gonna get, and again, I'm probably gonna beat that game through remote play, because I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake through remote play as well, and it worked flawless. So yeah, I don't think that it's a bad device. I do wish that it was an actual handheld, something like a PSP 2 or PS Vita 2 or whatever you want to call it, something that will give us some native experience. I don't need that PS5 remote play experience all the time. If I could take this on the go and play, like, let's say Legend of Dragoon, that would have been awesome. I don't know why they didn't do that. They should have done that, put a little bit more powerful chip in it, allow you to go ahead and play up to, PS2 games, allow you to do cloud streaming through PlayStation Plus, stuff like that. They should have done that, and I feel like it's a huge missed opportunity that they didn't do that. So I will knock it for that. But if you're looking for a device designed for remote play only, and you want the best experience possible with a really good display, really good controller setup, pretty much good everything all around, I do think the PlayStation Portal is worth it. But yeah, let me know what you think about the PlayStation Portal. Are you going to pick up one yourself? Are you on the fence? Are you not sure? I try to go as in-depth as I could without giving too much information on the PlayStation Portal, and to kind of educate you a little bit on why a lot of negative reviews might be happening. Again, I feel like it's because their internet connection or their internet network setup is not the best, so therefore they're getting poor experience. But for everything that I've used, and as somebody who's being multiple games through remote play, I will guarantee you that this is a way better experience than the remote play app on your phone or tablet or anything like that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said earlier, we're trying to hit 600 subscribers. We're so close. Know we can do it. Every subscriber does count, so really appreciate that if you hit that subscribe button. Also share their channel. It does help out a lot. Also, don't forget to check out our podcast. We have a podcast every Sunday, Random Encounter Podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest gaming news, and we also try to have some random encounters, aka guests, that show up on the show. My name is James. I'll catch you guys next time.